when you get down to London, you soon realise that trying to drive in this traffic is an absolute nightmare. So I found a better way. Get your own driver and your own bus. Fantastic. Are you ready to go, Martin? Brilliant, let's go. Celebrity hangout, I've only been to once and I probably won't go to again, in there. Restaurant, which is quite nice. And a lovely car showroom that I often stand outside and just dribble at the window. Here. Look. He should be on this bus because he's got a map. Piccadilly Circus! Oh, the London Eye. I want to have a go on it so I can see the whole of London, but it goes so slowly that I'm a bit concerned that I'll be scared at the top and it'll be ages until I get to the bottom. But being as I'm a tough gladiator, I'm sure I'll cope. One day. Well, you know, I said I've got my own bus and I've got my own driver. I've even got my own tour guide.
Hello everybody, welcome to London. And coming up now, on your right-hand side, this is St Clement's Day.
Nicola, come sit down and have a chat. So Nicola, how long have you been doing this job?
I've been working as a tour guide for 3.5 years. I've been going round and round in circles on a bus for 3.5 years.
And you enjoy it, presumably?
Well, yes, I do enjoy it.
So how long does it take you to learn all the information you need to be able to be a tour guide?
The actual training course initially is only 2 weeks, so that's only 10 days. But at the end of that, you don't really understand what you're talking about. You can regurgitate a lot of facts about various London monuments, but you have to keep doing your research.
So how do you get to work? Do you get on the bus or do you drive yourself? Or?
No, you can't drive in London. You can't park. There is nowhere to park in London. And you know, if you're going to park, it's going to cost you a fortune. I just get the tube. It only takes me 25 minutes. I live about 6 miles from the centre of London.
Right. So presumably the traffic and the state of the traffic, the gridlock affects your tour guides. They're getting longer or...
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, the traffic is absolutely horrendous. We have a story that we always tell the tourists that they did a traffic survey in 1901. They found that the average speed of the traffic in London was 11 miles an hour. This is back when they're all going around with horses and carriages. And they did the same survey a couple of years ago and they found that the average speed of the traffic in London was 11 miles an hour. So that's progress for you. No, we spend a lot of time. As a tour guide, you know that you're going to spend a large proportion of your life sat in traffic jams. The traffic in London is horrendous and it's definitely getting worse.
Well, thanks very much, Nicola. Well, whether you're a tourist or whether you live in London, I guess this is probably the best way to get about, providing it's not raining. Now you may be wondering what I'm doing here in this garage in South Oxford. No, I don't need a car, but I have heard there's a guy here called Chris Hales who can sell a car to anyone. So we've come along to find out if he can sell a car to me.
Four? Oh, this will easily carry 4 people because it's a 7-seater, as you can see. So you can take 4 people plus 2 friends.
Right. Excuse me?
That's the ideal, isn't it?
Sorry for interrupting.
Hello.
Chris.
How do you do?
I've heard that you can sell a car to anyone. Could you sell one to me, do you think?
Possibly. Depends what you want. What are you looking for?
Something recreational that's going to be a bit of fun.
We have a lot of those.
Taking in mind, you know, long-legged.
Yeah, long-legged. I'm long-legged. We can. We've got the CRV. Might suit you well.
Yes.
4-wheel drive.
Yes.
Handles well.
Yes.
Looks terrific.
Yes.
Go and have a look. I'll show you. Go on outside.
Great. Okay. So how long have you worked here for then?
I've worked here for 5 years now.
Yeah. But you've been selling cars for a lot longer.
Yes, we've been selling cars since about 1968.
Really?
And yes.
All my life then?
For Dormobile, or your life.
Yeah.
Most of mine. Yes.
And have they all been Hondas that you've been selling?
No, I've started off selling Volkswagen motor caravans.
Wow. And you've got some really good sales patter, but is it something that you've learned or is it just general?
No, it's just been honest and having integrity, I think, and knowing the product.
That's
knowing
nice.
the product.
So this is the car you're going to sell to me?
Well, this I think would be most suitable for you if you lead an active lifestyle.
Oh yes.
You may not need four-wheel drive, but it's nice to have if you want to go off-road and have a picnic or something like that.
Ooh,
Do you have picnics?
Yes, that'd be lovely.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's got a picnic table.
Has it?
Yes, it has. I'll show you that. It opens to the back. Under here. See, it's not a gimmick.
Oh, God, look at that.
This is where I get it completely wrong.
Fantastic. Has it got chairs to go with it? Or?
No, you can sit on here. Actually, if there are two of you, you can sit on here.
I see,
under
right.
the shade, you see.
Oh, I see. That's
And
handy.
it's a real table. It's useful.
You can have your salad and your chicken and your tuna and your
You can.
pasta.
That's
a couple of
right.
beers, maybe.
Right, would you like to go for a test drive then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jolly good. Right.
So you usually go out and drive first, like you are doing
Always
now?
drive it first, just in case somebody's loosened the wheel bolts while it's been parked outside, because you get vandals occasionally. Or the customer is an appalling driver. You need to prove to them that the car does drive normally.
Right, yeah, of course. Because I could get in first and say, well, there's something wrong with the brakes.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, exactly. Because sometimes they're very light brakes, and you're used to heavy brakes.
Yeah.
You keep stamping on the brakes, and you shoot yourself forward every time. You think it's the car.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas, of course, when you've had the car for a day, you wouldn't be doing that.
So this type of car has become very popular lately, isn't it? The four-wheel drive. But women taking their children to school. I mean, I used to be an ambulance woman, so I know how safe you feel when you're high up in a vehicle, and you know everyone else seems a bit low, and you feel quite safe being high up.
Yes, I think that's what it is, and people also like a different image, because cars have been getting rather boring over the last few years, and it's an entirely different image for a lot of people.
So it's not necessarily the fact that it's four-wheel
No,
drive as to why people
not at
tend
all.
to be. It's amazing you've been selling cars for 30 odd years.
It is amazing, actually.
How did you get into it in the first place? You just liked cars, or
When I
was
was
the job?
when I was 3, my father found a pedal car in the hedge and repaired it, and I think that set me off.
Well, you've shown me what this can do now, so is there any chance I can have a go?
Yes, exactly. I was going to say that. It's about time you had a go. I'll stop just here. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Good. There we are. I'll leave the engine running.
My go! My
Here we
go!
are.
And the trick is to aim for the high bits, isn't
Keep your wheels on high ground. Yes, that's right.
God, this is fun. Rather than saying, well, what's the brake horsepower, and
Yeah.
you know, what's a 0 to 60? When are you
Yeah.
going to do 0 to 60? You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't happen that often. I think most people want to know, is it going to suit their lifestyle? Can you generally, like, if someone comes into the shop, can you generally think, I know what car they're going to want?
Yes.
Even if they haven't talked to you about sort of what they want or what their budget
Yeah.
is or anything, you can tell.
Yeah. Sometimes people tend to want something that's totally unsuitable, or they're what we call a mystery shopper. The manufacturers and companies send
do you
out
really
mystery
get
shoppers.
those?
Yes, that's right. And they do not make sense. Sometimes.
Have you had many of those?
I have a lot of those, and they have mystery shopper written across their forehead. And I
Is
find
it clearly obvious?
I can't take them seriously.
I think I like the car, and you're a perfect salesman.
Oh, thank you very much.
But I haven't got my
You left
checkbook with
us-
me.
I don't believe you.
So.
You haven't got a visa.
No, fortunately I haven't. No, Chris, I haven't.
Don't worry. One day you'll be old and boring like me.
Never. You're not old and boring. You're a very good salesman. And if I did have my checkbook with me,
You'd have
this would
bought
be
one.
the car that I'd want.
Absolutely.
Oh yes, she will be mine. So this is one of my favourite cars, just because I like the shape of it, because it's so curvaceous. 1950s sports car.
That's right, yeah.
Stuart, tell me a bit more about it.
Well, this particular car spent most of its life in America, where it had a Chevrolet engine in it. In England, they often ran with a Jaguar engine. It was brought back from the States about 7 or 8 years ago by Bobby Bell, who owns it, a friend of mine, and he restored it. We're racing it mainly in England. We've done a couple of the European races with it. This is a one-off event. But it's a great car, very exciting. As you say, you can't beat the 50s curves, can you?
Yeah, it just looks lovely. I really like it. As I say, I think it is because of the curves. It's more sort of feminine.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So you've just come back from a race as well?
We were racing Silverstone a couple of weeks ago, and we just raced here. So.
And where did you come in this race?
We managed to win it.
Funny that.
Which is the best place to be, really.
Yes,
you know.
yeah. Was it a difficult race?
It was a very difficult race. Julian, who was second, he won yesterday. I led it right until the last lap and made a silly mistake yesterday, so at least it made up for the disappointment. But we had a good race and it was good fun.
Still, I think we need to have a few words. What on earth is all this mess?
I know, it looks like the Torrey Canyon, doesn't it? I'm afraid, for some reason, we've got a lot of oil breathing out of the engine. I think it's something to do with the banking, and it's what we call surge. But it's leaking very badly, and I'm afraid.
Is that not dangerous?
Well, it's not very good because you don't know where it's going, but most of it seems to have ended up over me this time. And I had a bit of a problem towards the end of the race where I'd got so much oil on my visor I couldn't see very well, so I wiped it and then I couldn't see much either.
It was just a big smear.
Yeah.
So you said before that you did a lot of work to get it up to racing standard. What did you have to do?
Yeah, well, when it came back from the States it was in a pretty dilapidated state, so it had to be basically all refurbished and restored. And if you're going to race them seriously, which we do these days, then you've got to make sure they're very properly prepared.
Yeah.
So, that's right, yeah, and you know, it's a racing car, so you've got to make sure everything's done properly.
How much would something as useful as this cost?
Well, I hate to tell you how much these things are worth now, but it's certainly the other side of £100,000, which is an enormous amount of money, and you feel quite responsible when you're racing them, really, especially when they don't belong to you.
What's the top speed you would get out of this car?
It's probably on a high gear ratio, it would probably do about 180 miles an hour.
180?
Oh yeah, very quick.
I knew I liked this car. Welcome back to the 0 to 60 at Centre Pod. Well, it had to happen at some point. I've been convinced that I should go in this car up the drag strip at Centre Pod. Bit nervous. What are we in?
Well, this is a Dax Rush built by DJ Sports Cars. It runs a bike engine, a Hayabusa 1300cc turbocharged, about 370 horsepower. So you should enjoy this, I think. So I think we shall get your hat.
My hat. Thank you. Mum, I love you. You're going to show me what it can really do?
Well, let's hope so.
Fantastic! I can't stop grinning. How long have you been racing for?
A few years. I've taken a couple of years out, so I hope to start up again with DJ Sports Cars, actually racing the Rush again.
Do you need a new driver?
Well, there's always an opening. So, yeah. It's
fantastic. I think we should go again. I think I should get one. I want to buy one. The helmet fits and everything, and I fit in the seat.
Oh,
and
it suits you.
It suits me. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Now, there are lots of cars here with names that you may have heard of, but this one means absolutely nothing to me. Never heard of it. Jeremy, what is your company called?
Well, my company is called Silver Auto Kits, and we've been manufacturing little kit cars to go sports car racing for nearly 20 years now. And this is the Silver Striker, which has been our sort of, what's the word?
Brainchild, your first baby?
Yeah, something like that. And it's been very successful on the, in particular, 750 Motor Club's Kit Car Challenge. And we've won that challenge 3 times. 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 And we've won that challenge 3 ti 9 years on the trot, so
Wow.
it's been hugely successful. I would say that we don't sell lots of kits, but what we do sell works really well on the track, and that's what we're good at.
So how come you keep winning then? Is there something special about your formula?
I never really figured that one out. But
You just know what you're doing.
I sat down, when I designed the car, I sat down and drew up what I felt was right for the job, and it was. And we've hardly changed it. In this particular model's been going for 15 years, and we've only changed it in a few detailed ways, and it just keeps winning.
So apart from obviously the look of the car, what else is different about it?
Well, the main difference between this one and this one is that I put the engine in the back of the car, a bit like the Lotus Elise. It's a transverse mid-engined car with a, well, this particular car's got a Ford Zetec engine in.
Right.
So that's the principal difference, whereas the other car is like the Caterham, it's front engine, rear drive. And the package, once again, I sat down at the drawing board and I tried to do what I felt was a really good chassis, really good suspension, using the transverse layout actually from an XR2 Ford, which was very cheap and readily available components, and it looks great, it goes well, but we haven't sold as many because that one is just well known as being good. So when it comes to speed, because that's what we're interested in, yes.
What's the 0 to 60 on that one?
Well, we've got cars that run data logging dashes, and in the Kit Car Challenge, they're probably about 160 horsepower. They weigh about 480 kilos, and they will hit 60 in 3.8 seconds. And that's taken off the data logging dash.
Okay, so if I was going to buy one, I'd just go for this, because you said this is like
that's
well-known
maybe
for being
that's maybe
good.
the problem.
How much would it cost me?
Well, we sell it as a
To
kit.
me, we're talking.
You want a complete car, or you want a kit? You're going to build the kit yourself?
No, get a complete car.
You want a complete car. You're probably talking a car like this, which is, runs a Ford Zetec engine, a 5-speed straight-cut gearbox, ready for the challenge. You're probably talking about between £12,000 and £14,000. It depends.
Is that all?
Don't say that.
Sniff in the ocean. But when you're talking about the performance of the car, though,
yes,
it doesn't sound like much money. Really.
Well, that's why people come to the kit car companies.
That's why they come
because
to
they get massive performance for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's the story. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to start saving my pennies. Black myself, get another trip up the street. So Chris, what do you think was going through your mind at the moment as you plan for this next run?
Well, the main thing is to get a clean start. And basically on this car we've got a system where we can line lock the brakes. So what I'll do is I'll come to a stop in a moment and we'll actually lock the brakes, and I've a little handbrake here on my right hand side which I'll hold the brakes on with, and we'll then feel for the clutch biting, and once the clutch is loaded up sufficiently we'll then let it drop and we should get a clean getaway.
Let's go for it then.
Use about 4,500 revs, 5,000 revs out and then go. Okay, this should take about 3.5 seconds. You get up to about 120 mile an hour on that bit.
Fantastic. This is great.
Yeah, this isn't just what it will do though. It will do donuts.
Do donuts?
Yeah. Do you want jam on them?
Come on then.
It's too grippy here.
Coming up behind me is one of the most beautiful cars here today. It's Gary in his Daxter Giro. Let's have a quick chat. Gary, tell me how you've done in your runs today.
Unfortunately for this sort of event, this car's not really ideal. It's much bigger and heavier than all these 7 type cars. I think we've done very well for our class, but I would have liked to have seen it a lot quicker.
And why doesn't it go as quick? I presume it's heavier than the little Westfields.
Yeah, we're looking at 1.25 tons of car here,
compared to
half a ton with most of the others.
Yeah.
And although we have
420 horsepower. It's just very hard to get it moving, get it off the line quick. It will spin the wheels a lot, and it'll, or it'll pitch down quite often and just bog in. The engine will just sort of die if you don't give it enough.
Well, although you got over 4 seconds, didn't you, compared to the other guys that are getting in their 3s?
Yeah.
And we understand one of them's broken the world record as well.
Yeah.
Today. I think that was down to us because we managed to get the tyres hot from him. So thanks to us, he managed to get a good time. But we don't care because this car's gorgeous.
No, and I feel that way myself, really. Yeah, it's good enough.
We love this car, we don't care. Aha, now I know what you're thinking. I've won. But you're wrong. I haven't won. But I know a man who has. Bayeki Thompkins to policeman. Hello.
Thank you.
So you've won.
I did. I won in the end. It was hard, but we won.
Let's see your trophy.
There you go. Well worth winning. Sports car, fastest not 60 shootout, 2001.
So what was your time then?
3.11 seconds.
Which is a new record, is it not?
It is a new world record. The McLaren F1 sports car had it before, and the £659,000. Ours is 29,950.
Yay!
Yes, a result.
And it was to do with the fact that your tyres were nice and hot, wasn't it?
It was, because we were doing donuts with you.
Yay!
If you want to go fast, get with this girl.
Well, we've had a lovely day here at Santa Pod. Everyone's gone home, the drag strip's empty as you can see. I think some people are quite happy because they've broken a few world records thanks to us and our practicing the donuts. Now, all that's left for me to do is put my own time in. So are you ready? Get set, go! Wait! Change my mind!